Progress.
Good evening, part two to today's tea and topics. Christopher Darnell Jones was charged for the shooting at the University of Virginia.
Schools and wounding two others. Charlottesville police say Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. shot and killed the football players. They were on a bus full of students last night as they were all returning to campus from a field trip to D.C. University officials say Jones is a student who played on the football team in 2018, his freshman year. The victims have been identified as Deshaun Perry, Devin Chandler, and Lavelle Davis Jr.
This is an unimaginably sad day for our community. The entire university community is grieving this morning. My heart is broken.
There's no word yet on a motive for the attack.
It is unfortunate that 40,000 people a year are killed due to gun violence in the United States of America. What is it going to take to make people make some changes with these gun laws? And we really need some mandatory anger management classes, conflict resolution. There's a lot lacking in our character building in our children, in our schools. And there's really a need for some parenting classes as well. Some people may not like what I'm saying, but I've been in my particular field for a long time and I've seen a lot of families. It is a decay in our the social fiber of our country, um, and a decline in family and moral values.
When old Liberty City young boy was gunned down in his apartment complex. And many years ago, representing Edwin Pattis' family, a University of Miami senior football player who was about to graduate and go in the NFL draft when he was shot and killed. And unfortunately, I've represented hundreds of gun violence victims, and we're here again today. This is different for me. I did not know Joaquin Oliver. I did not know Scott Beagle. I did not know King Carter or Edwin Pata before their lives were senselessly taken by gun violence. I knew Deshaun Perry. I knew Deshaun for several years. I've known his mom, Happy, for several years, his father, Sean, because my son played high school football with Deshaun and for Coach Sims at Gulliver High School. My daughter, my son, and thousands of other kids across the country, from Gulliver, from Richmond Heights, from the University of Virginia, are mourning this loss of this tremendous light in our lives, which was Deshaun. I know you have seen this in South Florida, the tremendous impact that Deshaun Perry had on everyone throughout his childhood, throughout his incredible time at Gulliver Prep, and then what he has done at the University of Virginia in all aspects. When anyone met Deshaun, the first thing they would see is this gentle giant with this humility, this absolute humility for an incredible athlete, an incredible student, his kindness, his incredible character, and his uncanny sense of humor. But the first thing, as you see in this picture, that everyone noticed about Deshaun Perry was his unbelievable smile. His impact to people that were young, kids that looked up to him, older people that will only tell you whenever they talked to him, they heard two things: yes, sir, yes, ma'am. He impacted everyone, whether you're black, white, rich, poor, throughout South Florida, and obviously up in Charlottesville.
Now we're in for some tea. This is Pastor Keon Henderson. Many of you know the scandal he was involved with Ernest Pugh and another gentleman. And according to some other sources, some new tea is brewing. But I want to, before I talk about that, I want to talk about his new wife, second wife, Miss Shawnee Henderson, the ex-wife of basketball superstar Shaquille O'Neal. Did you know that she was friends with his first wife? And she invited Miss Shawnee to a women's conference to be a speaker. Women, women, women. You know, my family members used to always tell me that married people couldn't have friends. And you know, I always felt like I could be friends with anyone because of the moral code, my integrity and character and high values that I had for myself, because I most definitely was not going to cross certain lines. But I found that even if you have the best intentions, other people have something on their mind. And the first Mrs. Henderson should have kept Shawnee away from her family. But anyway, so the word is Pastor Keon went to Georgia to preach for Jamal Bryant, and he also stopped at a certain gas station where he met with a particular person who is some type of amateur porn star, and they were caught having intense conversations. And the person who witnessed this, the gas attendant, was sent on a trip. That's all I'm saying. What happened to the day that pastors lived holy? I'm not used to this, where you just saved from the waist up. You're not sanctified through and through. You know, I really like this show. Chrisley knows best, but unfortunately, they're going to prison for fraud and tax evasion, and that's very unfortunate. Again, you have to choose your friends carefully, and Todd, you just should have stayed home with your wife because allegedly this is uh, Todd, his special friend, who turned him in to the FBI and the IRS, and he's the reason why they're going to prison. I don't know if it's jealousy or some type of lovers' quarrel or what happened, but it's very unfortunate. And my last topic for the night, a certain middle school. You know, I've never been interested in this, and I don't really see what people get out of it. I'm sorry. I know that I'm not talking about people who are suffering from certain illnesses, and they use this as a way to deal with their pain. But I just don't believe God made you a chimney. I'm not a chimney, and I don't need any smoke. But anyway, there were at least 10 students at a middle school in Los Angeles that were treated for cannabis overdose. This was reported today, approximately 4 hours ago. The Los Angeles firefighters received a report regarding patients with medical complaints at a certain middle school. 7 students were transported to the hospital. Their symptoms were mild to moderate, and the patients' ages were 13 to 14. I personally don't understand why students get involved with that. Um, because you never know where these drugs come from and if someone laced them or did harm, and you never know the impact or the effect it's going to have on your body. And so that's our today's tea and topics. Like, subscribe, and please share.